The Crusader Industries Hercules Starlifter is a ship series which has been highly anticipated. Reaching our hands first with the C2 and M2 variants, these behemoth haulers stand ready to take on Drake's ubiquitous catapillar, but can they stand toe to toe with the hauler's best friend? I'm Sean from We Small Band, now grab your towel and join me as we put on our trucker hats on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Verse.
Quantum trap initiated.
To start, a disclaimer. We will never suggest making additional pledges to Star Citizen beyond the base starter packages, being the Aurora or Mustang, as everything will be earnable in-game, thus that's all that's needed to play. With that said, the value of the project is down to each individual. If you want to pledge additional funds to Star Citizen, that's your prerogative, but we won't advise you either way. With that out of the way, the Crusader Industries Hercules. We don't have an in-law date for the ship's release, but we do know that it's been around for about a decade or so, probably longer. Best thought of as the future equivalent of the Lockheed C-130, the Hercules is a versatile space frame offered in three variants, being the C2, M2 and A2. The latter is slated for release later this year, so we'll be focusing on the C2 and M2 in this video. The C2 is the civilian variant, sporting an impressive 696 SCU of cargo capacity, as well as all the amenities one could need on a long journey. The M2 is the military variant, trading some of its haulage capacity for beefier armour and an additional turret. Of course, to carry a lot of cargo you need a lot of ship. At over 3,000 tons, the Herc tips the scales against most in its class, being 3 times the mass of the Caterpillar and Carrack, despite similar dimensions. This would lead you to believe the Herc to be slow, but at least in a straight line you'll be surprised. Its SCM speed of 135 meters per second and maximum speed of 963 is nothing special, about 10% faster than a cat, but the rate at which it gets there is nothing short of impressive. With an acceleration of 4.7 G, it will get off the line quicker than some light craft. Stopping is a different story, however. With only 1.6 G of reverse thrust, grinding to a halt is something that you plan for hours in advance. Decouple, spin and retro burn if you want to stop in a reasonable time. Of course, that means being able to turn. With a pitch rate of 28 degrees per second and a yaw rate of 24 degrees per second, it turns on par with the Carrack, taking almost 7 seconds to turn back. It responds well to this, however, with minimal acceleration in either axis, resulting in minimal oversteer. Rolling is another story. With a roll of 125 degrees per second, the Herc can do a barrel roll no problem, but the acceleration curve on the roll axis is long, taking a while to get moving and making it very easy to overshoot your desired angle. With that said, this ship taking its time is far from problematic, thanks to the ludicrous amount of fuel it carries. Now, CIG have stated that this is more of an experiment, so it is likely to change. The Herc has 8 times the fuel of the Cat, but consequently costs 8 times as much at the pump. When Pyro comes online in, well, whenever it happens, this may be a deciding factor. Back to performance, take the Herc planet side, and it handles about as you'd expect. Above SCM speeds, turning in an environment such as Hurston is an endeavour best attempted at high altitudes. Below SCM, however, it responds fairly well to changes in direction. It has a wide and drifting turning circle, but it's far from unmanageable. Combined with its excellent VTOL capability, and this is a cargo hauler you'd be happy to use as an interplanetary transport. And when it comes to transporting, the Herc is king. With its large and open underslung cargo bay, the Herc can carry what no other ship can. Able to house 3 Tumbrel Novas, a pair of ballistas, even various spacecraft, the Herc is a true pocket carrier. If it fits in a Carrack, you can fit several in a Herc. Of course, if you don't want to carry another vehicle, you can load up with cargo. A lot of cargo. As it stands, the C2 has the largest cargo capacity of any closed bay vehicle, both current and planned, excepting maybe the Merchantman, that one's still up for debate, presenting high potential profits, or losses, for those interested in hauling. The M2 variant does fall slightly behind the Caterpillar in terms of SCU, but with the Herc offering more than double the hull HP, an extra shield generator, and thicker armour on the M2 variant, that's a compromise in favour of security that may be worth it. But if the brown stuff does hit the fan, can it at least fight back? Well, sort of. With 2 size 5 mounts available to the pilot, as well as 2 remote turrets sporting size 4s, that's 3 turrets on the M2, the Herc has the ability to put down plenty of firepower. The issue, however, is that there is one less gunner seat than there are turrets in each variant. This forces you to make a tactical decision about which turrets to use, with the dorsal side of the ship presenting a large and unprotected attack angle no matter the choice. And with 2 shield generators, nothing smaller than a large vessel can make a dent, but when faced with a real threat, the best option is likely to take advantage of the powerful engines and just get the heck out of Dodge. With all the facts and figures out of the way, let's take a look at the user experience of the ship. Starting at the back, on the upper deck, we find the engineering section, where the designers took influence from the Hammerhead and the 890 engine bays. This grants easy access to every component, meaning repairs will be easily achieved. Moving along this area, we find various more component housing and storage areas. Each of these holds 200,000 storage, which is a lot. On the port side of this area, we find a wreck on the C2, complete with a large TV, bookshelves, and a kitchenette. On the M2, this is replaced with 12 drop seats, as well as an armory. On the starboard side, we find the hab area with beds for the crew, personal lockers, desks, and the ubiquitous shoilets. Moving through the throat of the ship, we find more component housing, escape pods, armor lockers, and weapon racks, before finally reaching the bridge. This is a good size, not too much wasted, with a wide viewing angle laterally. It does suffer, however, in the vertical view space, with landing especially being tricky, exasperated by the high elevation relative to the rest of the ship. Freelancer, eat your heart out. So, is there a place for the Hercules Starlifter? As is always the case with newly released ships, we lack an in-game price at this time. The Catapillar will set you back 4.7 million credits, whilst the more versatile Carrot costs 27 million. We'd expect a price closer to the Cat, of course, but 8 to 10 million doesn't seem too far-fetched. But is it worth that extra cost? Once Pyro is added to the game, the additional assurance of your hull's safety, combined with the long range and ability to simply run away if needed, could well make it worth the money. However, as it stands, the profit per hour difference on hauling is hardly enough to justify spending double what you would for a Cat in just Stanton. For that reason, at least for now, we'd suggest haulers stick with the old faithful. If however you're after something to transport that's convoy of cyclones, or you want something to carry a few Pisces around, and yes, they do fit, then the Hercules may just be the answer you're looking for. And that's all on that. Leave your thoughts down below, and with that we thank you for watching, and we'll catch y'all next time.